Today, Putin's press secretary Dmitry Peskov was pressed in an interview with Sky News about evidence that Russian soldiers killed civilians in Bucha, Ukraine. Peskov is presented with satellite imagery, geolocated video evidence, witness testimony compiled by Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International, but he insists it is all fake, a bold fake made by Ukrainians in conjunction with private satellite imagery companies, all Western media and Western governments, all to make Russia look bad. As of last night, Ukrainian officials had counted 320 civilian casualties in Bucha alone. The mayor there saying that almost 90% of those found dead had bullet wounds, not shrapnel wounds, meaning they had been individually targeted. No matter how much evidence it is presented with, the Russian government continues to deny everything, to say it's all fake. Now today, the German publication Der Spiegel has reported new evidence that will be hard for Russia to deny. Radio traffic intercepted by Germany's Foreign Intelligence Service of Russian troops discussing the murder of civilians. Quote, the radio traffic makes it seem as though the atrocities perpetuated on civilians in Bucha were neither random acts nor the product of individual soldiers who got out of hand. Rather, the material suggests that the troops spoke of the atrocities as though they were simply discussing their everyday lives. Some of the intercepted traffic apparently matches the locations of bodies found along the main road through Bucha, end quote. In one clip, the newspaper says, a soldier apparently told another that they had just shot a person on a bicycle. In another, a man apparently said, first you interrogate soldiers, then you shoot them. Joining us now is Melanie Amann, who, in addition to being the lead byline on this reporting today, is the Berlin bureau chief for Der Spiegel and a member of the paper's editorial leadership. Ms. Amann, thank you for making the time to be with us tonight. And I want to start by asking you a bit about this intercepted audio. How much audio is there? How many different conversations were there? And what are the kinds of things that you can hear being discussed on it?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Our sources have told us that there was a briefing of the Foreign Intelligence Service of Germany, which is abbreviated BND, and they were briefing members of parliament in a classified session about the radio traffic they have intercepted from Russian troops. The exact number I can't tell you, but they apparently did read a few of these intercepts to the politicians with quite a shocking content, where the Russian soldiers were exchanging basically like hints and information how they were treating the civilians in Ukraine and committing murder, committing all kinds of atrocities, like saying, for example, like we interrogate them, then we shoot them. And now this is, of course, the report that our sources gave to us. We have not personally been able to listen to these intercepts, but the sources' accounts do line up. It's quite shocking, actually.
And beyond being possible evidence of war crimes by individual soldiers, one of the things that you write about is that the reason this audio is so significant is because it could be used as evidence that these may not have been rogue independent actors, but rather soldiers carrying out orders as part of a plan. Help us understand what you have reported on that demonstrates that.
Exactly. I think it's hard to underestimate the value of these intercepts when it comes to analyzing the military strategy of the Russian army, that indeed they were, like the atrocities committed, the killings are not just random acts of violence of people acting out or maybe acting under the stress of war or whatever, or living out their horrible fantasies, but it's actually really a coldly calculated method that has been spread through a big part of the Russian army. And the political relevance is also that these intercepts dismantle this narrative, the propaganda of the Russian government, of the Kremlin, that like not only are the pictures fake, these people were not killed by Russian troops, and like the whole propaganda is crumbling. If you have people saying on record, soldiers saying on record, this is how you treat the civilians in this country, and like for shooting at a guy on a bicycle. Things like this. And so this is what makes these intercepts so important.
There can be signals intelligence that's used to match to the satellite images to identify specific perpetrators, and that could be important in building a war crimes case. But there's added significance because some of the audio, not all of it, has been traced to the region north of Kyiv, where Bucha is located. But there also seems to be audio out of other cities. How do you understand that?
Yes, there is also apparently audio transmissions from the region of Mariupol and from other parts of the country, but especially from, like you said, the region in the north of Kyiv, of the nation's capital, where we know that atrocities have been committed. So the pieces of the puzzle add up, that it's we are confronted with actual proof that the people who were there may have committed these atrocities, so they might be very valuable in a court of law.
I want to go back to the beginning of this. You said, you're right, that the audio was intercepted by German intelligence. Do you have some sense of how they intercepted it and whether they're working with other nations to do so?
I do, actually. It's the interesting thing is that so far our foreign intelligence service in this very war, in this crisis, has not proved as valuable as, for example, your American services, because the intelligence provided and the analysis of this intelligence by the German services has been flawed. They have underestimated the war. But with these intercepts, suddenly they really are ahead of the crowd, ahead of the pack, if you want, because ironically, they are using a technique, they're using an infrastructure that is from the Cold War. They're using these antennas 30 meters high that are located in Bavaria, and which other European countries have long dismantled since the Cold War. This infrastructure has been there for decades. And it's used to transmit the shortwave transmissions by the Russian army. But after the Soviet times, many countries thought, well, we don't need this anymore. The Germans kept it since we're orderly and we stick to what we have. And also, we've always poorly financed both our military and our security services. So I guess this is why this clunky, rusty stuff is still around. And now it's proved extremely valuable because we can listen in on what the Russian troops are discussing on their shortwave transmissions.
That is a remarkable story. Your entire reporting on this is remarkable. Melanie, thank you for being with us. Melanie Amann is the Berlin bureau chief for Der Spiegel and the lead byline on this important piece of reporting. We thank you for your time tonight.
Thanks for having me.